Assalamu alaikum, this is Sari Sawa. Every Thursday at 12 pm, join me right here on Radio Dawn for The Inner Journey, a space where faith meets healing and science meets the soul. Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters, and welcome back to Radio Dawn 107.6 FM. You tuned into The Inner Journey show with me, your host, Sari Sawa. For my new listeners, just you know that I am a hypnotherapist and a life coach. We go through this journey every Thursday at 12 p.m., where we talk about mental health and well-being, so we can really start to normalize these challenging conversation amongst us, so we can talk about it, and if we need a support, we can reach out. Eid Mubarak to everyone. I know that we are back from Ramadan, the very spiritual month, alhamdulillah. And as you guys know that before we start Ramadan, I always try to bring different guests or different businesses from Nottingham where we can, like I said, this show is about mental health and well-being. And I try to bring any businesses that we can understand a bit more what is provided locally, where we can reach out. So today we have got a very amazing organization. We have worked with them before and they're doing an amazing work in Nottingham. They do provide free health and well-being support. It's Thriving Nottingham. And I have the privilege to actually have two of the project coordinators on the show today. And I'm really looking forward to finding out more about what do they do and what other projects they actually got coming soon in Nottingham. So the first one we've got is Joe. And again, he is the project manager, project coordinator. And the second one, we've got Eldon. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Good morning, Suresh.
Yeah. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, doing good.
A little bit tired, but I'm okay.
Okay, thank you. So coffee that is we need, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, guys, for being taking the time out and having the conversation with us. I'm really looking forward to it. I have worked with Nottingham City Council and we've got connected with you guys, and some of the projects that you guys were talking about, I think is brilliant. And because it's free, I really want to talk about it. So first of all, just introduce yourself. What is it you guys do and what is Thriving Nottingham?
So I'll go first then. My name's Eldon Thorne. I'm project coordinator, as you've already mentioned, for Thriving Nottingham. So what I would do, and Joe would also do as well, is we go out to the surgeries, work especially with primary care, making sure the surgeries, so the GPs, the practice managers, the practice nurses, social prescribers, health coaches, they're all referring into our services. Me and Joe would look after those surgeries, all the ones in the city boundaries. Thriving Nottingham, we have a service which is a 12-week service. I'm sure we're going to go more into that in a second, but all of our services are 12 weeks. And yeah, I'll let Joe go on and then we'll talk more about what the services are.
I think you've said it all pretty much. My name's Joe Liarda. I'm a primary care coordinator at Thriving Nottingham as well. As I say, Eldon's pretty much covered most in part of kind of what we do. It's probably worth mentioning that I tend to work with the PCNs, the primary care networks in the south of the city, and Eldon works with the ones in the north. So, yeah, as I say, I suppose really if you were to describe our roles over the past, year and a half or whatever, we've been trying to see how we can effectively work with GPs and primary care providers to kind of incentivize them to send people to us and to kind of support them in everything that they do. As well as talk to patients about, the advantages of making a lifestyle change and what we can potentially offer them.
Oh, brilliant. Sounds amazing. So I believe that you kind of covering different corners of Nottingham, and then I believe you do two different areas of Nottingham.
Yeah, me and Joe tend to work quite close together, though. We do go to, I will go to the south quite a lot to work with Joe. Joe will come to the north surgeries with me to do quite a lot of events. We've got an event after this session today in the south where me and Joe are both going together to go and do that and support with that as well. So we do tend to go around. It's more with the data that we sort of look after the data. I would look after the north data, and Joe would look more of the south data, and then it's more about who we're going to contact, practice managers, and who we're contacting, or who is the main point of contact in that.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Thank you for
and of course we do we do a lot of presentations for kind of teams, practice nurse teams, and kind of the admin staff and practice managers working within GPs, and so we tend to very much double up and work together on those kind of presentations. So it's kind of almost a to and fro to kind of keep it interesting and trying to keep everyone engaged. So yeah, it works quite well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Before I go into that, what the presentations are about, just tell me a bit more about Thriving Nottingham journey, because I remember seeing it really, I think it must have been about 2 years ago, or I've seen it like just initially coming in, but recently you guys are everywhere in Nottingham. So I want to know a bit more about your journey, how you guys kind of evolved, or where you've started from, or what is the aim or the main object, the reason that it's all started.
Joe, I'll let you go first because you was here right at the start.
Yeah. So it's quite funny. We're actually very, very close to kind of celebrating our second anniversary as a service. Yeah, like I say, I was one of the original members of staff. I don't think there's actually many of us left now, but yeah, I was very much an original member of staff. We didn't even have an office when we started as a team. So we were originally kind of basing ourselves at the ice arena for our initial training. So actually, when you look at it like that, it's actually amazing how far we have come as an organisation, and because we literally started from scratch. We weren't given any contact lists or anything like that. We had to go out and establish that kind of all for ourselves. I mean, when I first started, it was pretty much me covering primary care, in the entire city, and also covering secondary care. So it was a tremendous relief when Eldine started working for the organisation, because it took quite a lot of pressure off me. And yeah, it's like I say, it's amazing kind of how far we've come as a service, really.
Brilliant. Thank you. And now what I know that you guys are working in Nottingham City Council, right?
Yeah, we work. So just to go back a little bit, so me and Joe, that's me and Joe's role, because like Thriving Nottingham, we work in, like as Joe mentioned, we work in primary care, we work in secondary care, and we work in the community as well. So we do work with, like yourself, community organisations. So we will go around, and we've got specific teams that will go out and work with different parts of the community. We have, for example, health coaches, targeted health coaches that will go out, and they will do work, for example, learning disabilities and neurodiversity. And then we've got health coaches that will work with physical disability. Health coaches work with what we call global majorities, which is like the culturally specific. So we've got different health coaches that speak different languages as well, so that they can integrate a bit more into the community and offer services that are more tailored for that specific audience. And then we do pregnancy, health coaching with pregnancy, and then mental health as well. So we do quite a lot and try to cater for all different types of the community, or everyone in the community is for everybody. We aim to be all inclusive for everybody.
Brilliant. No, it sounds amazing. It looks like you guys are doing a lot of work, and I understand that primary, secondary, and privately, is that what you mentioned? So
community based.
Community, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
And again, the going back to the presentation, you guys said that you're doing like with the primary care. What kind of presentation? So what is it that you guys do offer it to them? Because I know that kind of indirectly comes back to the community, isn't it? So tell us a bit more about what is it that you offer to them, so how we can actually, as a community, utilize that.
Well, I think sorry, are you talking about kind of community or primary care here?
Sorry, it's a presentation that you mentioned about that you go to the doctors and the prescribers. Yeah. So what is that about?
So yeah, interestingly, so I think when we first started, we were kind of banging on the doors of GPs, kind of saying let us in, let's tell you about what we can provide, and back then we were kind of very much targeting PLTs and kind of clinical meetings and practice manager meetings, things like that. And we were very much kind of outlining what we can provide as a service, what the advantages are, what the eligibility criteria was for each of our pathways. We were talking about the journey that we were kind of looking to go on, and telling them giving them the knowledge of how they can refer people into the service. It's probably fair to say, I think after about a year, we had to take stock a little bit and kind of say, right, okay, how are we going to really push this on to the next kind of level? And make sure that everyone's kind of maximising the referrals that we were kind of getting in. So we tried to look at it, I think, from the point of view of incentivising GPs, because of course we know how busy they are, and if they've got to take time out of their day to be referring people to Thriving Nottingham, that's they're already working to capacity. So we have to tell them what the advantages are long term. So we very much kind of focused it around kind of QOF and DES funding and how they can kind of maximise their own kind of profits from referring people to us, giving them a lot of success stories in terms of patient outcomes, and why it was good from that level, but also just kind of looking at how much time that this will save them in the long run. So we very much look at the cost of not referring. So we look at, say, someone who smokes, for example, can potentially be costing a GP between £100 to £150 per year per person. And that can essentially lead to them having to see a GP, say, 4 to 8 times more than they would have otherwise. So what we're essentially saying to them is, if you refer these people now, this will save you money and it will save you time in the long run, as well as leading to far, far better patient outcomes. And I think that presentation's been a little bit more kind of hard-hitting in terms of people really understanding what the benefits of us as an organisation is.
Sounds amazing. And what I believe that when you say referral, so what I'm understanding is that you guys provide the services which we'll go into, and you go take that to the GPs and or any primary care that you do the presentation to, and say that how they can refer the community to you guys.
Yeah, that's specifically me and Joe's job, but that's just one element of it. So that's the primary care side. We've got a secondary care side, and then we've got a community side, which may be more beneficial for listeners at the moment. That side, the self-referral side, because to get into our service, people can just go on to they can get one of the leaflets. Can't remember if we gave you some leaflets, but if we haven't, we can give you some. You can use one of the leaflets, go on the website or phone us up, and they can actually refer right now into our service. There is some eligibility criteria, but it's not too hard to meet.
Yeah.
Basically, you've got to be living in the city boundaries anyway, or be registered with the GP in the city boundaries. And there are a few other things for different services, but as I said, it's not too hard to meet that criteria.
Brilliant. Thank you.
But this is sort of open for people in the city to actually access the service. So the GP side or the primary care side, they can refer as well. If you go to the GP, they can refer. Me and Joe have gone round and they've got banners. You may have seen some banners in your GP with Thriving Nottingham on, and you can just scan that banner in the surgery. So you can just do that yourself today if you wanted to go in and join one of the services that we actually offer. So there are various ways into Thriving Nottingham. Primary care is one option, secondary care one option, and the staff are working with us, with me, Joe. They are working with all of us to actually refer more people to us. But then there's the community side, which that's where you can take it upon yourself if you're for example, want to lose some weight, or if you want to stop smoking, or if you want to increase your physical activity levels, or if you want to access our services of children and family service. If you want to do any of those, you can go and do that right now as well. So that's an option for you.
Brilliant. Thank you for summarizing that, actually. So you have kind of mentioned the services that you provide. So just go into more what kind of services are you providing? What areas? What kind of you started already, or you're starting soon? So let's talk about what kind of services that you actually do offer.
Yeah, so we have an adult weight management program. This is for, as Eldine mentioned, it's obviously for people who are residents of the City of Nottingham or registered with a GP in the City of Nottingham. It's for anyone with a BMI over 25, which, compared to a lot of weight loss services, that's actually quite low. A lot of people are kind of BMI 30 plus to kind of come into the service. So we do try to kind of cater for as wide an audience as possible. We also have a weight loss program for children that children and families can kind of essentially do together. And I know that we're working with, a lot of kind of leisure clubs, ice skating, red kangaroo, things like that. And it's a really good way for families, I think, to do physical activities together, and we can really help fund, families to kind of take part in this, because these are expensive for a lot of families, and especially if you've got a lot of children. This can be a really expensive day out. So what we can do is, if like, for example, if someone's got 5 children and one child is overweight, all 5 children can go and take part in that service, and we will obviously cover the cost of that. We also have a stop smoking service, and we also have a physical activity move more pathway, which is kind of aimed at people who are physically inactive. So anyone who's doing less minutes of moderate level physical activity a week can kind of come in, and we've got all kinds of walking groups, Nordic walking groups. We can give people free gym passes, leisure centre passes, which again is a really useful thing for people, because it's a costly venture nowadays. And it's probably also worth mentioning at this point that we are on the verge of announcing a stop vaping service for young people. So we have been out and about in the community for quite a while now, and obviously we have quite a lot of presence in schools. And I think a lot of the feedback we were getting is that some of the biggest issues for young people nowadays is that they're vaping, and that they are drinking too many energy drinks. So we listened, we took the feedback back, and as I say, we're still sorting out what it's going to look like, but we are on the verge of kind of announcing that it will be for, I think, 12 to 17-year-olds. If we roll it out and it's successful, we may look at kind of rolling that out for adults as well. So, as I say, keep posted, and we will try and provide more information on that service as it comes.
I'm loving the sound of everything. I mean, I really like it that how you're kind of going with the feedback of the community. You're kind of doing your research, and then you're going like, okay, this is what you want, we will provide it for you. I really like the sound of that, because then you're kind of going more personalized to the community. What do they want? And I think this is the best way of going, because like you mentioned about the vape and energy drinks, I think that's huge at the moment. And then with the smoking as well. But the weight management that you mentioned about the adult and the kids, and then they can do it together. Tell me a bit more about what did you mean? Because I think now we are realizing that it's really hard to spend that quality time with the family. Like, the parents are doing their own thing, kids are doing their own thing. So where you mentioned about spending that time together, tell us a bit more about, is it they're going to have the group together, or are they going to have the same activities? How does it kind of connect the adult and the kids side of the weight management?
Yeah, so when it comes to the children and families service, so what we're targeting is 5 to 17-year-olds. And obviously that's this massive gap for kids. So for example, 16 to 17-year-olds, we will probably do a different activity. We do actually personalized health coaching for those who are 16 and 17-year-olds. Or we might even take them into the gym as well. We've started doing things like that as well. But with that, one child in the family just has to meet the eligibility criteria, and that's over the 90th centile, which means the top 10% of the highest 10% weight category of the children in the country. So that's who we're targeting. But the thing is, if one child in the family actually meets that criteria, as Joe mentioned before, all of that family and friends can come in, and we will pay for that. Okay, because we want to keep that together. We don't want just one child to come along. The family, and they can have their friends as well, come along, and we'll pay for the activity. Things like red kangaroo, which is expensive, we will come in and actually pay for that and get the family in there. And how it would work is that we split the children up. They go and do their activity. So it may be the trampolining, it may be things like fruit kebabs, it may be like mocktails, we do bush tucker trials, and we do a range of sports and games. So they'll go and do that activity for around about 50 minutes. And then the family the adults in the family, they will go and do their activity. And what we focus on is mindset, physical activity, nutrition, alcohol, hydration, and then sleep. So we'll focus on that, more of an educational based session for them to go and do that. And then at the end, we come and do an activity, a group activity together. And that's how that would work with the children and families side of things.
Yeah, and just to add, if I can, you mentioned about kind of us getting feedback. Definitely, as an organisation, co-production has very much been at the kind of heart of pretty much everything we do, really. So it's an interesting thing, I think, because obviously when we started as a service, we were very aware of the fact that we were the kind of new boys in town, and that there was already a lot of really fantastic services providing sports and leisure and kind of fitness classes already existing within the kind of city of Nottingham. And I think we were very conscious about potentially kind of treading on people's toes and potentially taking away from some of those brilliant services that we know already exist. So we were very much from the start, we were looking to work with them and trying to kind of support them rather than kind of work against them, really. And that's still kind of very much the case today. We've developed, I think, so much as a service in 2 years. And like anything else, I mean, we made some mistakes along the way, of course we did. But, I think we have some really, really strong relationships in the community, and we do listen to the community and we take on board everything that they kind of say. Very much like the kind of individual support, we will very much try and tailor it around the needs of the individual. But like I say, it was also always going to be the case that we were going to try and work alongside all of the services kind of there. And like I say, we've run a lot of joint events together with a lot of these, with a lot of those services, and also the kind of county provider, ABL, who offer a very similar service to ours in the county. We've done some joint events with them. So yeah, it was very much a collaborative approach to everything we do from day one.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And I think that's why you kind of grown quite quickly and to a lot of company and organizations is because the kind of reach out that you've made, you want to make sure that you're connecting with everyone in the community. And then ultimately you kind of get to know a bit more about what do community want. So can we provide that?
Exactly.
And I think you tackling the weight management side of the kids, I think that's brilliant because we are getting to know a bit more about how kids are having this self-esteem issue, like how they want to look. And we all know it's kind of social media connected, they see themselves in a certain way and they want to achieve them goals by any means. And I think having the weight management and the physical activity part of it as well that you mentioned, I think that can really go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say the physical activity, because that's as mentioned, like with the children's side of things. Yeah, we do lots of activities in terms of like we've got children and families team who go into schools, they go into assemblies, and they go and do a whole range of activities. With the adult weight management, with the physical activity side of things, then yeah, we do. As Joe mentioned before, less than 30. So if you're doing 30 minutes and less per week, so in other words, inactive, so that's who we're targeting there. But this doesn't include walking. So walking, if you're just walking and that's it, then you would still be eligible. So you would be eligible to join our service with that. So if you want to do anything like that, as Joe mentioned, we can give out vouchers, 12 free vouchers to any of the 6 leisure centres in the city. If you want to go and do that. And when we're saying about these services as well, this takes 3 to 5 days and then you're starting. So this isn't a long wait at all. This is quite short. You will be spoken to quite quickly. We've got a triage team that sometimes within that day that you get referred, you'll be called and you can get started at the same time. We also have, and Joe mentioned the weight management side of things as well. Adult weight management, we have lots of groups around the city and in different areas of the city, and they're 12 weeks long. And for those who may be scared or may need more support, may need the social aspect of it, those groups, you give the same time each week and you're with the same people, with the same coach or the adult weight management practitioner every single week. We've got fantastic resources that you can use. We've got a brilliant recipe book that every time me and Joe take it into the surgeries, the nurses go and rob it off us because they use it for themselves. And we've got journals for adults, we've got journals for children and teenagers as well, with recipe books for the teenagers and that as well. So we've got fantastic resources. But those who want more support socially, that's a good thing that we offer. And our groups are getting really, really filled up within the city as well. And I think April, we're going to have all our new groups starting as well. So this is a really good time to come and check out what we're doing at Thriving Nottingham.
Brilliant. That sounds amazing. So what I'm hearing is that so the services that you provide, there's a triage. So regardless of if they want to people want to self-refer, and I heard you mention about the billboard that normally is in local GPs. They can scan. There's a barcode on it if they want to self-refer.
Yeah, you can go to thrivingnottingham.org.uk, and that's the website that you can go to. And on there, you can sign up yourself. And there's an option as well right now where you can go and refer a friend. So if you want to sign up and then you want to get your friend to come along with you, on the website there's an option in the top right corner which says refer a friend. You just put their name down in there. And what we do with that is you get £100. You get put into a drawer where you've got a chance to win £100 worth of Amazon vouchers each. So we do that quarterly draw, and so whoever comes out, they get that as well if they want to sign.
Oh, nice. And is that for self-referring or referring?
Yeah, self-referring. You can go right now, and you can go to, as I said, thrivingnottingham.org.uk. Go on there, and you can actually do all of this right now. So it will tell you all of those services that you're interested in. You can go through. It doesn't take very long to sign up. Or if you don't want to, if you're scared of technology, and because I know some people are, you can just go to. There's a phone number down there as well. Phone us up and do it that way. It doesn't take very long at all to do that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And just to be clear on the refer a friend thing, if anyone's kind of listening and thinking they're going to sign up all their friends, you do need to get their consent before you start signing people up to enter into the prize draw. So just to be very, very clear about that.
No, brilliant. I love the sound of that. So the triage, so they can self-refer their friend, especially if any parents want to refer their kids, I think, for any of these services. I think that could be brilliant. And then you obviously get into a draw as well where you can win Amazon vouchers. I believe that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So after the triage, you'll get connected as soon as possible. You said about 3 to 4 days roughly that after the referral.
Yeah, so we say allow 5 days, but like it's usually way less than that, because it is usually less than that. And so you get that part of it. So get the phone call, then you'll get assigned or put in whatever you want to do. They will go through
so they do the triage, and then
they'll go through a health assessment and then find out, and they'll offer they'll get your postcode, find out the nearest thing to where you are, and then give you offers for where you are. So they'll give you that
brilliant
what you want to do, and then they'll offer you way more than probably what me and Joe are going to talk about today. But they will give you stuff that you can that you want to do,
depending on the triage, what you're looking for, so they can kind of tell you that, this is what we've got to offer. Because you spoke about 12 weeks long, and I think that's brilliant, because it's not just like one off you go and then that's it. It's a 12 weeks long, and then it's a different groups. And if you do tend to go into a group, I believe it's a closed group, or is it people can kind of in and out, or is it that once you've started the group, you have to kind of stick with it and kind of go along with it?
Yeah, I think that obviously, like the 12-week course, I mean, that's very much kind of in line with the nice guidance, which kind of says it takes more or less kind of 12 weeks to implement a kind of behaviour change in life. So in terms of the kind of groups, I think how it kind of works is that you can join any of the kind of groups up to, I think, week 4, I think it is. Obviously people can kind of start and come in, and obviously in terms of kind of convenience or whatever, people can start the course. Not everyone kind of completes it, but it's kind of the case that if you come into the service and you complete the course, or whether you leave the service at some point, there is a bit of a kind of year kind of cool-off period, if you like, really. So if people leave the service, they can come back a year later and kind of do it again if further down the line they're looking for kind of further support from us. But people who do complete and go through the service, we do follow up with them, at kind of fairly regular kind of intervals, just to kind of see how they're getting on, see if they're sticking to their goals. and just to see if they need any kind of further support, really, just so we're kind of aware of how people are getting on once they've left the service.
That sounds amazing. And I think this is where people can really start feeling that they're cared for, because it's not like you do the course, off you go. It's like you really kind of checking up that. And I think that brings a bit more commitment, that if you've started something, you have to kind of go with it. And 12 weeks is a brilliant time period to implement, like you mentioned, to the work that we want to do, because it is not surface level. I love the sound of that. Just before we go off, thank you so much, guys, for all the information. I think we could have gone in so much detail, but just before we go off, it's just that if you would like to tell our audience that how to reach out to you, so just briefly, like the kind of services that you're running at the moment, like Alden mentioned, in April you're gonna have some more groups starting. So what areas are they starting? How can people sign up? Either be self-referring or the friend.
Yeah, so there are so many things happening. We've got stop smoking clinics all around the city. We have health coach clinics all around the city. We have the adult weight management groups happening as well. Any of the 6 leisure centres we can use as well. So the best way to do this is, as mentioned before, is to go on to thrivingnottingham.org.uk and sign up, and then the triage team will find out where you live, and then they will offer whatever you tell them that you want. They'll find the nearest thing or the best options for you from where you are, once they've made sure that you are eligible, of course, to do those activities. With these activities, so we've got the different pathways, as we've mentioned: stop smoking, physical activity, adult weight management. So we mentioned 12 weeks, but you could actually, if you wanted to, do 12 weeks stop smoking pathway. Then after that 12 weeks, if you wanted to come onto a different pathway, you could do. So you could say, I want to do adult weight management now, and then do another 12 weeks. And then after that, you could do, hey, I want to do another 12 weeks after that and do the physical activity pathway. So essentially that's 36 weeks of support. You could do it that way, or you could go, I want to stop smoking, and then I want the physical activity, which go quite well together. I want to do those 2 pathways together, and you could do something like that. So 12-week support with the stop smoking advisors, and then and then physical activity, whether you want to do the chair, well, the circuit-based classes, which with the bands for that, which is good for those who have physical mobility problems as well.
Definitely go hand in hand.
Yeah. You want to go swimming. So if you leisure centres, when you go to the leisure centres, you can use the gym, you can use the swimming, you can use the classes at the leisure centres. You can do all of that for 12 entries into that centre.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, definitely kind of summarize that you can go from course to course or different groups, and depending, because it's all about getting to the rhythm. And the brilliant thing is absolutely free, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think this is the favorite part. Like, it is free. I mean, the Red Kangaroo, we know how expensive that is. And the gyms that you mentioned, and the swimming and all of that. And a lot of people have had this issue where they're not able to afford it. They do want to go, but they're not able to afford it. And I think Thriving Nottingham is doing a brilliant work to letting people, look, we give you this opportunity. Don't worry about the money. It's about getting you going. And I think this is where I think we're looking forward to a lot of referrals coming in, or at least people making that first step to reach out, so we can really start utilizing the services that we've been given, especially they are free. And thank you so much on all of that. I'm assuming that we'll have more radio shows on that, because I know that you've got different kind of projects coming in, and especially with the health coaches as well, and the weight management. But thank you so much for taking the time out and telling us a bit more about Thriving Nottingham. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon.
You're very welcome, Suresh. Thank you very much for having us. And yeah, as I say, if you ever want us to come back and give you any updates on what we've got going on, give us a shout. We'd always be delighted, over the moon to do it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joe and Eldon. And I will see you guys soon.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Take care. Take care. Bye. Bye. Alhamdulillah, what an amazing. I mean, this is what excites me a lot, because when I come across some of the organizations and businesses, which is because it's all about community, right? It's not about 1 or 2 people. It's about how we can work together to look forward to our better health and well-being together as a community. And this is where these kind of organizations like Thriving Nottingham, hence I really wanted to have them on the show, is because the kind of services that they're providing, I mean, they're absolutely free, but like Red Kangaroo, swimming, gym, I know some of the teenagers, they do want to get involved with these things, but they are limited when it comes to finances. And ideally, as a parents, we do want to encourage our kids to go and attend these physical activities, purely because we know that this is a best way of emotionally regulating yourself, and that's the best activity that they can do out of school as well. So thank you so much, Jazakallah, everyone, for listening this show. And I'm hoping that you guys had a great Eid, and inshallah look forward to seeing you guys next Thursday. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. So tune in every Thursday at 12 p.m. for the Inner Journey with me, Sarish Sawa, only on Radio Dawn. Your community, your voice, your connections.